Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another Lemon Amiga Playguide and review. This time we'll be checking out Builderland, the Story of Melba, published by Loriciel in 1990. Yes, this is a French game, and as you can see on that title sequence, it gives us an arcade approach and it also gives us a high score table as well. From the main menu we can check out those credits, and we can add a number of credits as well if we want to do that. We can also enter a password and we can also start that game. Builderland is certainly a game that I remember from back in the day. It's one of the very first games that I had, and it impressed me coming from a C64 background, because C64 games were very much like this, only lower resolution and a less amount of colours. So a game like this on a Commodore 64 would be hailed as an absolute classic, and if you can get past the graphics and the colours, well, there isn't much to the game apart from what some magazines called a Lemmings clone. Now this game requires us to move a rectangle. You can see the flashing rectangle in the middle of that screen. That picks things up with a click of the joystick, or perhaps you can even use a mouse, I'm not quite sure, but if you hold the joystick button down and press to the left, it will stop the game. And we can also press the F1 key to pause the action at any point. Let's pick up that bomb and blow a hole in the floor, and you'll have to find out what you can do, what you can pick up, what you can collect. In this case we can't collect the mushroom, that's just a bonus. The bee gives us a checkpoint. These blocks here are made of steel, they'll go into a slot, and the columns will move into a bit later on, but we've just blown up a mine with that. And also for the next section we're also going to need this gold block, which we can only collect after we've walked underneath it. That's very tricky timing, but that means that we can save that gold block for later, and also we need to remember to pick up a block from here, otherwise we won't be able to do much about it, we won't be able to continue. And as I say, you can hold down the controller button and pull to the left, and that will stop our character from walking at any point, and that means that we don't have to rush into the action. Well, that will deplete the bonus time. You can see it at the very top of the screen, and you can also see I've got 3 lives remaining, and you can also see a basic score as well. Just pause our character, and we'll also need this pickaxe just like a Dizzy game, so let's just get ready for that. And we can also save these 2 gold blocks which actually float in mid-air like a Mario game. We'll pick those up and save those later on. You never know with this game, sometimes it requires us to do that, sometimes it doesn't. And when you get to the end of the first stage, it will give us an end of stage boss. What we have to do is construct the house, and that construction will complete the house. Once we get there, walk through that door, it means that hopefully it will face that boss. Then the game moves into what I like to call the kid gloves section, where we can walk on top of fire and pick that up. We can also pick up these balls as well. These rubber balls won't bounce on the screen, but we can place them down, and that enables us to get to all those fires. And those fires will come in handy, and those rubber balls as well later on, but for now let's just press the button and that will drop a number of items, as you can see, onto the head of that beast. And then we've just got enough fires left to drop the final one, and that should finish it off. That will leave its heart behind, which we will have to collect, and then we can move on through that level. Then we'll get taken all the way back to that level, and yes, it does take some time for it to access it in memory and to present that on the screen. So let's just stop the action here. We can also pause as well, don't forget, and check out what we have to do. What have we got? Well, we've got a pickaxe. And by pressing the space bar, if you press the space bar, you'll get a list of all of the items, and we can use the bomb to blow up this guy. And we're also going to need to press space and select the pickaxe just at the right moment, because you can see it ticks down. So if you haven't cut through what you need to cut through in that time, you are stuck. So let's continue, and we have 4, count them, blocks that we can use. And there is a trick to this to make these guys float out just by 1 block, and that saves this job and makes it a lot easier, because you can actually use them with the ramp, walk on top of them to get over the fire. But I'm doing this the hard way by using blocks at the moment, and I haven't got enough blocks, unfortunately, to get over that obstacle. And we have got knives, and we can throw those against enemies, throw those towards enemies, but unless we're facing them and unless we're very quick, we cannot unfortunately pick up the blocks behind us. So what we're going to have to do is stop the guy here. So let's pick up a column and get rid of a few of these mines. I've no idea whether we'll be walking this way, but if we are, we'll need to get rid of those mines, and we'll also need a ramp as well to get us to where we're going, because if we fall down there we'll get killed. And then we can use another ramp to get rid of that, and another ramp to get rid of that, and hopefully we can reveal something to get rid of the last mine if we need to do that. Unfortunately, we can't get that life, and I've no idea how you get that life at the moment, but when we walk through that door, we'll appear up there. So you have to be ready, otherwise you're going to get killed. So very, very, very lucky to drop that, get that knife, fire that knife, and to drop that boulder in a good place, because once you drop that boulder, it destructs and you can't pick that up again. So we've used all of our items now, which is lucky because we don't need any more blocks to get through to the next section. He'll wait patiently by the door because, well, he'll need to do that because he hasn't got the key in his hands. So we can be busy constructing the end of level, and now press the space bar, get the key out, and finally we can breathe a sigh of relief. We can get through to that next checkpoint. You might notice flags of checkpoints in this game. We haven't noticed too many of those, and you have to put these blocks down in precisely the right place. Let's just pause it here and make sure that we put all of these things down in the right place, because it's trial and error in this game. If you make a mistake, unfortunately there's no way back. You just make that mistake and that's it. So now let's move on to the second boss. Builderland, it can be one of those cases where you need lateral thinking to get through these, but once you know the formula, it's pretty easy. But we seem to have made a mess of this already. Once you fire those fireballs, that's it. And so we're going to have to make sure that we've got enough fireballs to last us until we get to the top of that screen, when we can rain the mines down on that guy's head. And you have to be right on the edge of that platform to move to the next square, and then I'm going to have to destroy that. I pick this ball up, and that automatically drops whatever there is there down the screen, and that will come in handy a bit later on, as we'll find out. But for now, let's just play this the easy way, get rid of that, and then hopefully we've got enough fires to be able to drop these mines. course we need that one more fire. Luckily we've got 2. So if we are constructive, we can build our way, i.e. Builderland. We can build our way all the way over and pick up those items. And so it's that lateral thinking that I like in this game. It's not automatically obvious, but you can pat yourself on the back once you've solved a puzzle, and at this stage it's not too hard, and this game really does have the player sweating sometimes because it really does get hard a bit later on. So it's got the character and it's got the charm, and as long as you can put up with this music, which you either love or hate, I don't actually mind it, but as long as you can wait and wait and wait. This is the disc version I'm playing at the moment, because none of the hard drive versions seem to be working on my setup. So what's that? That's a spring. So I wonder what that does. That springs us over, and if we need a block to stand on, well, we've got plenty of them, and these things remind me of fruit pastels. So those are the fruit pastels I remember from being a kid, and if you drop 2 fruit pastels on top of each other, they'll melt. Maybe, you know, made to make your mouth water or whatever, they'll disappear. So that means we can stack them on top of each other. We can also blow them up as well and stand on them, unlike those columns which we can't stand on, we'll just fall straight through them. So what I'm actually going to do here, well, some of these we can blow up and they will be no longer an obstacle. The rest, it looks like I'm making a platform out of them. So let's see what we decide to do. We are saving a few for a bit later on, and this section here is a bit of a nightmare. Yes, that sheep will walk forward and fall into that gap. We can walk in its back. So that is definitely one way to complete this, but I don't have any ramps to get onto that thing up there. So what I'm going to have to do is get rid of this block, move it so that we can get the elevator, or whatever you call it, and put that in the hole, and then having stood on that we can now use that, and then we're going to have to use one of these to block the sheep again, unless we use a knife to get rid of it. And then having done that, finally we can also use the bomb if we want to do, and that also gets rid of the sheep. But there's also another sheep, so I'm saving the bomb, and I'm actually saving a few of these blocks as well for later on in case we need them. Now these things will fall on our heads. Luckily we've just picked up the knight's helmet, and as long as we use that knight's helmet just at the right spot, let's blow up this sheep and press that space bar, pull up that knight's helmet just in time, and yes, that saves us getting hit by those enemies. So what have we got? We've got a cloud, and if we drop a block down there, it will then fry into that fire. And if we're not careful, we're going to get killed by this thing. So what can we do? We can put the cloud down for one thing and walk on that. That's number 1, that's no problem. Get rid of that block, and then hopefully we can get ourselves through. And look at that, a checkpoint. That's definitely what we need at this stage. We don't even need these blocks either. So even though I'm making this look very hard, this is actually very straightforward at this point, and you would expect so with this being level 1. What I'm actually doing is moving a few more over. Let's pause and hang on that platform, and let's move a few blocks over, because we're definitely going to need some at some point, and a ramp might come in handy as well. So we can stack these blocks up on top of each other, think laterally. We don't have to get there as long as, well, we've got a teleport, and that will teleport us to wherever we need to go. Let's just activate that, and we can teleport here. That means we can't move forward, but we do have blocks all the way around us that we can use, and also that gold block as well. So do we need to use any of these blocks? I've no idea, because it's been so long since I've played this game, and even though I've had so many warm-ups of this game, I can't actually remember. So let's stop it there. We're going to need a gold block to fill up that hole, because that's the only one that can float in the space. And so let's pile up a few more, and let's inch forwards, because if we move too far we won't be able to get the gold block. So if we move too early it will just crush us. So let's stop there, get the gold one, fill up that space, and now finally we can move a few blocks forward. You can see the bonus time is almost ticked down, so we can't afford to wait, but as long as we get to that checkpoint, that will give us the time, because once we restart and lose a life, we'll reappear there. That's important, because if we don't reach that checkpoint right now, we're going to lose that. So let's walk under and through that column, that's no problem. And there's a flying thing, there's a bomb. Let's get rid of that flying thing with the bomb. That's easy enough. And grab that checkpoint. It only just gives us enough time, hopefully, to build. And look at that, we don't actually have enough space available to build the end of section boss. So what are we going to do? Well, this is the trick of the game. We made it to the checkpoint, so what are we going to do? We're going to wait, and we're going to wait until that runs out. And now let's check out our inventory. That's a screen blower upper, that's what we had left from last time. So let's blow up all them, which is what we should have done last time, but it simply wasn't giving us enough room and enough time, so now we have all the time in the world. We've lost a life, that's no problem, we're going to pick one up anyway, and we can only have 3. So that's no problem at this point. Let's now build by getting these things in the right order and the ramp in the right place. And now we can run through that door, and yes, it gives us even more bonus time as soon as we exit this door. Might not look like it, but yes, you can run over the top of that guy, so let's run. Now that we're over to the other side, what can we do? Well, we can investigate all these other fires for one thing, and getting those at the bottom of the screen isn't very hard, and this one at the top. But what else can we do with these balls? Well, if we put that in between something, then when we pick it up again, it will make it drop. So we can use that to our advantage. But for now, I'm just going to pick that up. And we only have a certain number of fires, so what are we going to do? Are we going to use that to our advantage, or are we not? Well, hopefully. Let's see what I do in this particular case. I haven't seen or played this in quite a while, and of course the life energy ticks down as well, so you don't have all of the time in the world. I'm choosing to ignore all the fires down below and trying to throw one under here, because that means we can lob this thing on its head without wasting any fires. And that isn't a cheat, that's what you meant to do to save fires in this game, as we will definitely find out a bit later on. So how do we get that one down? Well, let's put that here, and then if we jump up and lob a thing here, that should kill that. And then we also need 2 more. So if we hopefully fire one here, that leaves the final one, and I think one more block should do it. Let's just jump up anyway, and let's just see where can I fire that from here, and then that's dead. So that's fantastic. It means that we've got a few fires left and we don't have to make mistakes. We can recover from those mistakes, and I'm not sure if you get any more bonus points for doing that. Now, if we've set up everything the right way, we don't have any bonus items, we don't have anything going for us at the moment, but we do have a spring and an elevator. So let's stop that there, and let's wonder how we're going to get through this next section, because we'll need the ramp, and if we place that ramp under him, just here, he should just about live. If you place it under him as he walks any further, then he'll die. And that's an infuriance in this game, because you have to make sure that he lives all points, otherwise you'll be struggling. And we can just about jump right up there, and we can save this elevator. Not that we need it, because this is the end of that level. So all we need to do is to clear away these final blocks, and if we touch the head of any of these monsters, or the back of any of the birds, or anything like that, it won't kill us. And once we've walked past a monster, it won't kill us either. So we can safely land on this thing's head, that's absolutely no problem. What that thing will do is blow wind towards us, as we shall see a bit later, and there are various things that we can do about that. But right now, let's get rid of all these fruit pastels, so what I'm actually doing is making a bridge, and you can see an egg there, that will hatch out into a demon. But again, if the demon or the enemy is hatched out. If we walk on top of them, just like I'm building a bridge right now, if we walk on top of them, then that's no problem. So we're one block short. What are we going to do? Well, let's just put a ramp there, and that sorts that out. And now hopefully we can romp towards the jailhouse, which jails the very last of the enemies on this section. This is the easy section. This is the first level of maybe 8 in the game, and all the best graphics appear in the later levels, the mid levels, and the later ones, which we won't get to see on this particular playthrough. Now on this level it gives us some fires and we can use them, but it will not give us enough unless we really tactically use them. So what I'm actually going to do is go through here, and yes, you might take some damage, but so what? If we can pick this thing up, it means we can use the old trick again like we learned before, put this thing down right on the edge like that, and then pick it up, and that will destroy that guy. Same thing again, and then same thing again. Let's see how much energy he's got left. Well, 1. So we can actually use our fireballs towards him at this point to get rid of that extra 1, but what I'm actually going to do is use the boulder instead. Now it gives us the password to the second section, which is Baroque. And as I say, the better graphics don't appear till the later levels, so the second level in a cave appears to be the blandest, but that's not our big problem. Our big problem is finding out what we're supposed to do. So obviously the first puzzle is to use this helmet against this spike, and that saves us from doing that. But from here, the puzzles really are difficult, and it took me quite some time to figure it out. And there are a few tricks that you can pull as well, and we'll definitely need to pull a few tricks if we want to get anywhere in this game. See, I made the enemy move forward just a little bit, and then if we place a block just under where we are at the moment, and yes, we should have picked up that thing, so we've just lost a life. So it is easy to lose lives in this game. The creator of Builderland was Safini, and that's the name printed on the screen. I've no idea, it looks Middle Eastern to me, and that's fantastic. Safini was the creator of Builderland, and not sure if that's a boy or a girl. And of course the music was created by Michael Winogradov, and Michael is, well, I think this is his only creation on the Amiga. It's a love it or hate it soundtrack. See, at the moment I haven't quite got enough to get us over the next obstacle, because of course the trampoline only gets us so far, so we're going to need to extend that. And so this is the first of the hard puzzles on the second level. And so if you want to get your teeth into this game, this is where it all kicks off. And you can see that we do get some more blocks, but we can't get them unless we fall off this one. So let's use some insane lateral thinking at this point. And even though we cannot pick things up that we have used, it doesn't matter, we can use this trampoline. And if we put a block here, and then, see, we can't pick that trampoline up, but if we put another block just underneath that, it means that we can move forward and now reposition the trampoline, because we haven't moved off that block. So that means that we can now leap over that and get through to the next checkpoint. And that wasn't particularly easy to figure out either. Let's collect that, and those checkpoints are amazing, but you can see it's unfortunately messed that up. If we go through this door, it's only going to lead to the bottom door, and we can't use this ramp to get any further out of that level. So what can we do? We can die basically, and we can try that all over again. So when we die, we'll go all the way back. Let's go all the way back, and let's speed up that footage again, because sometimes it can be trial and error, and you have to get things in the right place just at the right time. And if you can, that's great, but if you can't, it's a problem. So let's lure this guy out, place that block here, put one underneath so he can walk. We can now remove this, that thing won't move forward again. We can save this, that thing would needed, and now we've got some extra blocks. We don't have to worry too much. And no, we can't blow this bird up, unfortunately. If we try and blow up the bird, it will just disappear and it won't do anything. And we can walk on the bird's back if we jump on that trampoline, but we're not going to do that in this playthrough. And so let's use now those two extras to get ourselves a bit further. And now once we get to those doors, let's stop it here. Let's place the top one up the bottom. Let's place this one over here. And now, having got through that, it should mean that we've got through to the checkpoint, but also we can get through the next door. If you're thinking the game is tricky, it really is tricky, but there's a red potion in front of us and that makes us invulnerable. And so what we want to do is to put the ramp next to those springs, and then we can use our invulnerability just at the right point, maybe not yet, and that will mean that we can get through all of these guys. So there are easy ways and difficult ways to get through these things, and it is trial and error as well. So one thing is you don't get quite enough bouncy things at this particular point. What can you do? Well, you're supposed to pick one up and move one down and have something spare. And having spares in this game is required every junction from here on in, so unless you've carried the spare blocks from earlier on, you're not going to make it. So let's try that again, move it down, and carry the spare block across. That can only be done by restarting from that checkpoint. So let's now get through that, let's move the spare block across, and now here, hopefully I'll remember to activate that just in time. And hopefully remember how I'm supposed to complete this level. And I don't think that's going to work, and I've completely messed that up, and that means that having not bothered placing that block means that we're now going to die. So let's try that again. And many of the magazine reviewers of course complain that this game was just too frustrating, and it was bland and it's boring, it's got that kid gloves public domain kind of feel to it, and players wouldn't invest too much time. Well, when I had this in the day, I did spend a lot of time with this and I did get further. I think I got most of the way through the game, but I didn't complete it because it was just too hard. And it took me ages and ages, weeks and weeks of practice and practice to get this far, to enable us to give you this play guide, because I was so rusty at it I couldn't play it for toffee. So playing this for toffee, let's move that cloud up, and now hopefully we can leap like a skydiver all the way off the top of that building. And yes, that doesn't stop us. That doesn't die, it doesn't make the character blow up. That will mean that we now walk into that next boss, and that's a good thing. No fall deaths is definitely appreciated in this game. And look at that, one of the easiest bosses on the face of this planet. And so let's see what we can do. We can get the next fires by shooting those down, and for every one that we collect, we can get some more. And we can also shoot our way through to that ball on the other side, which is precisely what I'm probably going to do. Or, well, you don't have to do that, you can get the fires above, but collecting this ball means that we can use maybe the old trick against it, I'm not quite sure. Maybe if we do a big jump off the top of that column, we could reach the top of that boss, and unleash all 4 of those things, but unfortunately on this level you're going to need the ball to escape from where we are, because this game is written in Amos. It's got some pretty special collision detection, and when it comes to jumping, unless you can clearly jump, you won't be able to jump, so we're going to have to waste that ball doing that. But yeah, this game was written in Amos, so that's another Francois Lyonnais, French guy with a French creator and a French person creating another French game with Amos. So it means that anybody could do anything with the Amiga. Let's just kill this boss. This is our first mud monster. He doesn't pose too much of a problem, and we can shoot the rest of that health out of him. That's another one completed, and as you can see, I have massive respect for this game, even though I'm probably the only one on the planet that does so. So let's take a look at this checkpoint. You'll be getting very familiar with this very shortly, but for now let's just move through it. I've noticed a red shirt that we picked up, and that means that we can not get blown back by this guy's breath, and he will not breathe towards us if we're wearing the red shirt. And now what can we do? Well, we can get rid of these 2 guys with these arrows, and we can also use this to mine our way through the scenery. So it's important to note what objects that you're passing at the time. We're going to need this block, so let's save it, and we can also get rid of this guy as well and use the column. This guy won't be able to pass through the column, but we can, and if we move this up and click that, we can now use the knife to destroy him. That isn't the only way to destroy that guy, not by a long way, and there is more than one way to complete any of these sections. I'm just showing you the way that worked for me after lots and lots of retries. You can see the enemy didn't get us, and look at that, stop there. We're going to have to stop because we're going to have to put things down, but I'm saving as much bonus time as I can. Look at that gold block came in critical handy, we needed that. And this column, well, that thing is going to kill us unless we place that there. The enemies can't see through columns, but we can walk through them. The enemies can't pass through columns from above or below, but if we try and stand on them, we'll fall right through. The columns can be used to blow up things, but the columns are very special in the game. But the iron blocks, well, they are a very limited use, and they can be basically put somewhere, and as soon as we stand on them, then we can't pick them up again. But if we stop behind them, we certainly can pick them up again. And so stopping right here, using the wings that we just picked up to bridge that gap, that should mean, whoops, I made a mistake, that should mean that we can get across. But look at that, I've completely made a mistake there. That means that we're going to have to try this all over again. We have to get these green ones over to the other side. And look at that, through the door. And you would imagine at this stage that I can just use a weapon, or even use that bomb right there to blow our way forward, kill that guy. But there isn't enough space to build the house. We need 3 blocks with to build the house. We haven't got enough blocks. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to try that again, and that takes us all the way back to that last checkpoint. So let's fast forward through my 1,000,001 tries to try and get this right. And yes, even my mistakes are in this thing. So let's try again. You have to put the blocks in the right place. You can see I haven't put the first block down in the right place. There's supposed to be a gap there. And then hopefully we can blow up the top guy with a bomb. But it's also critical to get every single one of these blocks across. If you don't, you're going to be struggling for the next section. So even though this looks stupid, it might even be the way to go. But I've put the block in the wrong place, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to fall off this thing. So where's the bomb? Well, the bomb appears right now. You're supposed to use the bomb to kill this guy, but I've put the first block too close to the edge, and by the time you've killed him, well, I've blown up the wrong guy for a start. By the time you've killed him, well, look at that, completely messed that up. There's no way through, I don't even have a key. So that's completely a botched attempt. So this game is really difficult, and you really have to have that bug about it, mess that up again, to make sure that you try it again. And it is possible. There is only, well, there's usually only one correct way, but sometimes if you use your brain, these puzzles can be immensely addictive. So let's kill the right guy now, move the block to the right place, and stop here, but no, look, I forgot to move the green ones across. That's complete catastrophe, because it means I can build the house, that's fine, but I can't move the green ones across. That means I'm going to be stuck now for completing that next level. And so I'm furiously trying to build things. Yes, I've got, well, you need about 5 or 6 to get to the next bit. And that didn't work, so let's try that again. And yes, I'm using the wings. I've put the first block in the wrong place again. And this section is really difficult. I've picked up the bomb, I've blown up the right guy, but the block's in the wrong place. So unfortunately, that's a retry. So you can pause for however long you want trying to get this right, but unless you get this right to the letter, and it looks like I've failed again because I've put the first block in the wrong place again. There is more than one way to skin a cat. Yes, you can use the bottom way, but using this top way like this, stop the guy, that means, well, that's half a botched attempt. We've failed to get the last green block because it's too far away, but we can get all these columns. So using that half botched attempt, it might be possible to actually get further in this game from here. This is definitely the hardest part of the second level, and you will be seeing this over and over until you get it right. So look at that, we've put a column in the wrong place there, which is not ideal. We need about 5 or 6 of them blocks, and I've got 4. So this is not looking good, but what I'm actually going to do, you can see the checkpoint down there as well. We can't get to that checkpoint because it's impossible to build the house the bottom way. You can only build that here. So we can't get that last green block. And can we get the gold block? I'm wondering. There's another column there. So that gives us 5. I'm not quite sure if that's enough, and I very much doubt it at this stage. I'm going to cock this up if I walk onto that column. Maybe I noticed that, maybe I didn't. I'm now panicking at the moment, knowing that I don't have enough blocks to get through to the next section. So I'm panicking, just trying to get rid of these mines while I've got a bit of bonus time left. I'm going to clean up the residue once I walk out of this place, and hopefully clean up and move on. But unfortunately, I didn't collect that last green block. And I'm not even sure whether it's possible to get through to the next bit from here. But anyway, let's just pile on in to that next boss room. And from here, you'll have to really start experimenting. And yes, we've got the 3 lives. So let's continue. Let's see what we do. And we cannot jump into that gap. If we try that, something will fall. But it's those tips and tricks that you have to remember. And now surely, if we are quick, we can fire our way all the way over to those mines on the other side. Now we're going to be extra careful, because if we waste any one of these fires, we're going to be struggling, and we don't have a spare ball either, and we can't get the last mine. So how is it possible to get over there? I have no idea. Let's just destroy that, and let's try and climb out of this hell by destroying a few of these, hopefully before we die. So let's try that again, try and jump out, and on top of this thing, that's got it with 1 fire remaining. So that's a great feeling. So we're really moving through this game now, I'm really making it look easy. But what I didn't realise is I'm really not going to get further, because you really have to have more blocks. And just like a Lego game, this is precisely the logic that goes into a Lego game. And I'm moving these things over, but I'm stood on top of a column, which is bad news because it means I'm going to fall. That means I'm trapped in this corner. I haven't collected the waypoint. I can't collect this green block. I'm 1 block short for continuing. I can't get out anyway. And that means that this game has defeated us again. But let's not get too down about it, because that's the game. Let's return to a save point, and this is precisely what you're supposed to get. 4 blocks on top there, plus this bonus column. And you notice that I've now put the column underneath the 2 green fruit pastels, and that means we can pick it up just like that. And it means we've now got a bonus block. So let's move that down, plus the 3, well, yep, the 3 here that we're supposed to save. Let's get rid of that, and we can ignore the bird. It won't kill us unless we're on its flight path, which we're not. And we're going to need this block and the ramp, and that should mean, well, we're actually going to use that there, but we've already messed this up because I should have saved that block for the next bit. Yep, it's as hard as that in this game. You need another 3 blocks for the next section, and I've only got 2 because I can only collect this one and that stupid column. So I'm already a block short. So guess what? I'm going to have to try that again. If you don't do that, the penguin will move forwards and he blocks our way through. So it's all about blocks in this game. You blocked and you blocked and you blocked. So let's go back to that save state. And if it wasn't for save states, I would have really ripped the last of my hair out with this thing. So this is my perfect formula. And if I get this wrong, I'm going to remove that column and mess it up again. So let's just grab that. And now that gives us a bonus. Let's go through that formula again. And this time, let's put the ramp just in front of that enemy with those spinning blades. Let's save this last block. It doesn't matter what colour it is or what it does. It could be a fruit pastel. But let's save that for the next section. And let's also blow up that mine. Finally, we've got 3. Well, 2 in a column, that'll have to do. And so, wow, what does that potion do? Well, I'm not quite sure actually. I don't think it does much at this stage. It doesn't do much for us anyway, so let's just collect this just in the nick of time. And let's put the metallic one in that hole because we're gonna need this floater much later on, and this floating gold block is gonna be the key to the rest of that level. Let's grab the key. And so we need to fool the penguins, so let's do that. Let's put one on top of each other. And what does that mean? Well, we can actually move through the column. We can walk through it, and the penguin won't see us because of that gold one. And because we haven't used the gold one, we can move it forward. And this is critical. As soon as we are below the penguin's eyesight, we can pick that up. And it's those tips and tricks that you only learn in this game the hard way. We're going to need it, so let's put that into a safe place. And this column as well, that can come in handy. Let's just move that over to a safe place. And we're going to need that ramp. And look at that, that green thing gives us a timer. What does that do? That enables us to pick up heavy objects. So let's pick up that blasts everything on the screen. And use the ramp finally to go around what I call the time warp. That reveals on the other side of the time warp some eggs, and also reveals what I like to call elevators, and they will take us up and down the level. And as soon as we collect them, the eggs will smash, or either 2 out of the 3. And then we're going to need them, we're absolutely going to need them, plus this gold block which we're going to place. Well, at an appropriate moment, we're going to have to find a good way to do it. And in the meantime, we're going to have to do the time warp a few times until we get that right. Also blow things up with the bomb as well, so let's not do the time warp again. Let's just walk up that platform and we'll have to get this right. And why have I used a gold block there? Because if we walk on their heads we'll be fine. So let's get rid of that gold block. We're gonna need that, we're gonna need this, and we're definitely gonna need the down one as well. So let's not touch any of them, let's put them safe, in a safe place. This bomb, we better not use that on anything. Otherwise that's going to be a problem. And so what can we do? Well, we can use the key to appear up there, use the ramp. So let's save the bomb. We're going to need, what are we going to need? Well, the bomb isn't used for anything. And the column, we've left the column behind. Maybe that's a bad idea. No idea at this point. Well, let's go through and let's see if we mess that up or whether we're going to have to rely on another save state. And I really do like this music, even though there is no change of music in the levels. it's great to hear this in the bonus section. And so this level, you have to really do it by the book. And I've practiced this level over and over again using save states for the past week until I got it right, but now I can get it right. And there's more than one way to skin this level, absolutely there is, and I've managed to do it 3 different separate ways in my plays, but this one is the culmination of all them, where I'm just basically going to lob this down and trigger all these things. And does that work? Yes it does, even that rock kills it. So now if I place this here, I can, well, no, here I can grab that, and then if I turn around and place the one above behind me, it should mean I can jump across to the other one, and that means I can now pick that up, drop that further behind me, hopefully, and then if I can get this right on the edge without falling off, I can use 2 more fires. And that means we've only got 1 bit of energy remaining. What can we do? Well, we can get this final mine, but what I'm actually going to do is the fun way. That means going down here and using 2 out of those 3 fires to get us across to that next section. And for here you have to jump up first and then move across. Once you've collected the item, you can then jump on that platform. So this might seem the opposite side of Diablo, and Diablo on the PC, we're going around shooting monsters in caves, is, well, the 3D version of that particular level. We've got through it, so that means that we've unfortunately gone back to a save state where I managed to rescue that gold block that we left behind earlier on, and that means that having rescued this completely dumb abandoned effort, we can now get through, hopefully, to that next section. We don't need to break the egg on top of the base. That's how the elevators are supposed to be, up and then down and then up again for the wings. So that means that we can now skip that boss because we know how to do it and continue. And look at that, it gives us a free gold block, but we're still going to use one to get rid of that, and maybe we could have rescued this after all by only having 2. I've no idea, but this is virtually the end of this level, and all we need to do is to use the wings. And if we use the wings in the wrong spot, like I think we're struggling to do at the moment, then we're gonna struggle, so let's stop that there. Let's use that platform and kill that bird. That's a fantastic idea, because that means we can get through. We're also going to need to block them as well, and I can clear the screen with that screen clearing effect, and that's precisely what I should have done. And look at that, right at the end of the level it gives us miles too many blocks and lots of hope as well. It even gives us a checkpoint, so we can stop these guys from falling with a few of these gold ones, and we can even destroy them as well with these catapults or slings and arrows, whatever they're meant to be. Unfortunately, if we drop them right on top of the enemy, unfortunately that will drop on us before it fires, and that will kill us. That means that we need to go back to the last checkpoint, which is right here. So the game taking it easy on us at this particular stage, we can't mess it up. So having not messed it up, let's march on through to that final jail cell and get through finally to the end of second level boss. I managed to get far in this game back in the day, but I'm not sure if I used infinite time and passwords, but I seem to get through at least the first 3 worlds, but I won't be getting through that on this particular playthrough because this game is agony to play. After all these years, I've had to use infinite save states to get through these checkpoints because it sends you all the way back, which is frustrating. get one thing wrong, it's frustrating. If you don't carry one block enough over to the next section, then it's frustrating. And it's those frustrating scores that the magazines commented on when they handed out their final verdict, because there are too many things that wipe off a game, and unlike many games, you do get lots of different tries, and there isn't one absolute perfect way, but there is a safe way through every single level. So once you've memorised that and got all the way through it, hopefully without rushing, it should mean that you can take your time and figure out how to do things more or less the easy way. That's level 2 completed, and that means we get another password. On the English version it's Bueller, and that means that we also get another bite of that map. And there are several things we can do here. We can even blow up the shoulder of the land here and use the minus pickaxe that we've just found to dig underneath all of this, and if we carry on walking then the pickaxe will last all the way through it. But what I'm actually choosing is not to do that at all. Let's replace those ramps and let's instead blow up underneath the mines and simply use the pickaxe from here, so we don't have to make the start of level 3 very complex. And this game has got a swamp in it, look at that, we're even moving things forward, which we definitely need to do. And so I'm making things look easy which are complex, and making things very, very complex which are actually complex. So we'll need to move forwards and we'll need to carry things forwards. We'll need to remember that. We need to carry one ramp across, and we also need to remember that we can collect these ramps once we've walked over them, but I've already messed this level up because the enemy's now walking towards us, and we're supposed to block that off with the gold, and we failed to do that. So let's go back again and let's try that again. So sometimes the puzzles are easy and sometimes they aren't, and so you might be scratching your heads and banging your head against the brick wall in the middle of level 2, but this opens up pretty easy, and most of the levels open up pretty easy. So let's try and block it, and yet again I've put it in the wrong place and messed this up. I forgot to pick up a ramp which we needed, so that's another restart. Unfortunately this game is just too bad. Well, am I going to continue? Am I actually going to bravely continue? Well, it looks like we are. Using that lateral thinking again, we can't collect that life, but we have collected now, or we'll do, that knife and another red shirt. So we're gambling that we can get through that rock, and yes, we can actually walk straight through that rock, which I thought we needed the ramp for. And the mace, I've no idea, I think that just kills one of the enemies. So let's get rid of the red shirt, otherwise that guy will blow us into the spikes, and right at the last moment we're going to have to kill him with the knife. And get rid of that, kill him with the knife, he'll blow us back. And the bomb, well, what can we do with the bomb? We can, with the green thing, we can pick up one of these 2 aliens, but we don't really want to do that. And with the bomb, well, there's like a cauldron and an animal. Let's blow up this round circular cauldron type thing, and that just leaves the block for the animal. So if we pick up the magic, well, that's a heavy lifter. So if we pick up this ramp, that gives us the ramp that we needed, and the heavy lifter quickly, we're going to need to use that to get the teleport. And if we don't get that in time, we can't collect the teleport. Luckily we can get it. That means we can teleport through this section. And yet again it means we're going to have to skip out that checkpoint, that B checkpoint, because if I do it here we can go all the way over to the other side, and we can even materialise behind those 2 mine carts. Not that that will do much, but that will make those roll forwards onto the enemy's heads. So now it gives us a field of elevators, so let's get building while we've got this free time, and let's try to laterally think what we're going to need. And this game is perilously difficult. We're going to need all of this stuff, hopefully all in the right order. And I've completely messed that up, you can see, when going up instead of down. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to waste a life. I'm going to have to move this down here. Is that even possible? Well, with this game, if I move very quickly, it is possible. Thank you. That's a breath of relief. So if I do this here, then that should mean it takes me through to this one, which drops me down. And I'm just hoping that I don't need another one to get through to the next section. Let's hope I can just use this spring instead. And what's that door going to do? It's going to bring me out above the green fruit pastel. So I might not even need the spring and the trampoline after all. So this is the final door I'm going to walk through, because I couldn't figure out how to kill this enemy. So whilst you see me thoroughly defeated, I'll go through those scores. The current Lemon Amiga score for Builderland, the Story of Melba, is 63%. Amiga Power gave this also 63%. Matt Bealby claimed that the game felt like a cheap Lemmings clone. And Amiga Joker gave this 65%. Amiga Action gave this 70%. And Amiga Mania awarded Builderland 86%, which bumps up the score to 7 out of 10. This is one of those games I definitely remember from my childhood. I definitely wasted too many hours with this, and wasting getting stuck and not having save states in those days, not having long plays. You won't find any long plays of this game. And the first guy who puts a long play of this thing on YouTube would definitely deserve it, definitely deserve all of the subs and all the awards that they get for doing that. But I'm nowhere near putting a long play on YouTube. This is a monstrously difficult game. There's no help or tips out there, and I guess you could use cheats if you wanted to, but even with infinite time, unless you know what you're doing, you're gonna die. So that's me. That's second on the high score table, stage 3. So that's yet again halfway through the game. So thanks again for viewing this play guide to the first few levels of Builderland, and it's been requested by Dan. Thank you very much.